you have any mobile product right now that you do out in the?
We have one seat, and that's a
That's
problem,
what hard is.
because
$9.96.
I have a clerk, she's very competent, she's actually training to be a CP sweeper.
Oh, endorsement for the policy,
And,
insurance policy.
She doesn't have access to it. You know, if somebody calls, how can somebody, it's just one person, so.
Circuit
Oh,
breaker.
nice.
If somebody
Circuit
walked,
breaker.
if somebody walked in with permission, I could
Pay
probably
$42.64.
hand the application out to her, she could handwrite these things, and I could go over the,
Partners on
otherwise,
safety.
you know, basically, typing everything. Because I have to.
Yeah, so if anything, let me try to show you, I think it's a little bit more flexible
Share cord.
than, I guess, in that regard. I'm not too familiar with that, I guess, but I have seen, I know we have had other customers that had come off of that on ours, but I haven't really gotten to use it, just interaction and talking with someone, a previous user, you know? But there's a bit more flexibility with this as far as being able to create new types. It's very simple. You can either give the user access or you don't. But that's just up to you. And it's also not license based, so once that you get it, you can have as many users as you want log in to use it. There's like the DPW module is different, so it would be a different cost, but just building permits, complaints and all that is all included in the 165, and it includes the tablet. I believe in the proposal, and I can get that to you guys, and we'll make 2 copies. And with the tablet, the nice thing about it is that you put your inspections on permits. We can use some templates to help automate that or not, or just do it manually if there's, you know. But when you go out in the field, your inspection is available for you on the tablet. You pass or fail it from the tablet, you take pictures from the tablet, and it syncs back to
Just
the
so that
program.
because I might go on 3 or 4 inspections, you know, and then I end up with
You end up coming back to the
25,
office
30
or something.
pictures.
Right, then
you know.
they'll download the pictures,
I
I
have
mean,
to yeah.
it's all fine.
And the other nice thing is that it's all web-based, so you don't really have to do it here. You can do it from home. It's a website, so you can get out late and then just drive home. Your inspections will already have synced back, but if you had something else to do, you can log into the program at home.
Right.
So it's nice that you don't have that, the computer went down and I need somebody to come install it. It's just a website, there's no install. The only thing we ask is we prefer
Give us
Google
the
Chrome
total.
as a web browser, so you just want
So
Google
that's,
Chrome on the
that's
computer.
showing this
other than
amount.
that.
Oh, and then that was wrong with everything.
Yeah, it's not.
Do you have any GIS you use, Karen?
It's not something.
Why did you
This
just?
one also has a GIS that we would put your layers
Put my
on.
initials
Yeah,
too, so-
That's the last one.
you know,
I
because,
don't have your layers, but I have an example, just what it looks like.
can you also put other maps in there too? Like-
But any layers you give us, new projects, all the flood layers, wetlands, and zoning,
I was
and
doing that today. I had the GIS map up.
all those you can give us.
Yeah, and then
Remember I was telling you about that,
watershed.
University
Right,
last year?
and I'm trying to
I
like,
want to stay for 10 minutes or so. I was gonna-
is that over, and the one map doesn't have any roads or anything on it, so I'm like, well, it looks like it's right over here, I'm not sure. You know. Yeah.
And you also have access to those maps.
I'm home at 6 o'clock this morning, so I'm starved.
Oh, all right.
I'll go look up right.
All right. I'd like to call a meeting to order and we can stand. Would you like to use, I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
public comment statement. The Chatham Town Board appreciates information received from the public during the public comment portion of each meeting, which often is very helpful in the governance of the town. It is, however, not intended to be a debate with the public or a question and answer period. Issues raised during the public comment may be addressed by the board during its regular meeting or by the supervisor between meetings as necessary. As a courtesy to other members of the public, there's a 5-minute per person limitation on oral comments for each public comment period. The public is also encouraged to provide the board with written comments or material when the subject matter cannot be presented in this time frame. Of course, while the board discourages any remarks which may be considered defamatory or stigmatizing, it will not restrict the content of the public comment. Okay, do we have any public for comment? No?
Don't all speak at once.
Okay, no public comment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I expected Will Lavoisier, and instead we have David Scola. Aiello. And David, you're on.
Hello. My name is Dave. I work at Software Consulting, and I just wanted to show you the Municity 5 program. I guess a brief overview of some of its features and how the tablet feature functions, and also, if we have time, just a brief overview of what we call Municity Connect, which is like an online portal for the public that we have customers using for. We usually start out for like quick permits that don't require a lot to them, and they can apply for those online and save a little bit of time in the office. And also we do property searches, and you can choose to allow what you want to see on that property search, but we'll get into that after. The Municity 5 program is a cloud-based program, so there isn't any install that needs to be done on any of the computers. It's just a website. We do prefer Google Chrome, so that would be the only thing that we'd want to have on the computers. So it can be accessed from in an office setting, or it could be accessed from at home. I brought a little bit of paperwork I can hand out afterwards for you to look at. What you would see when you first logged in would be a website like this, and it would have a sign-in page for it. Once you logged on with the username and password we would give you, you would be able to pick, it would go right into yours because I'm logging in as a supervisor. It's giving me access to all the places that we have, and it will bring you to this main search screen here. So the search is a pretty broad search. In the demo here, it's using White Plains, so a lot of the data is from White Plains here. But you can search by section, block and lot, owner name, legal address, and if you're searching for a specific permit or complaint or something like that, you also can change it to permit and just bring in the permit number as well. So if I was to look at, make sure I look at the right
So
one
those
here.
search parameters are already in. We wouldn't have to enter each of those parameters that would already be.
No, you don't have to enter any of that in. You do have to, like, right here where it says lookup, it says parcel. For the parcel, you can use section, block and lot, owner name, legal address. It won't bring up permit number. You have to change the drop down the permit, but then you can put in the permit number. Most people I find generally look by parcel. We're pretty parcel driven, but it's nice if you have a permit you're working on in the office, you can go right to that permit number instead of having to go to the parcel and find it. So if you do 255 Main, less is more, leave off like the street, the road, the lane, because we get your parcel information from your assessment, and sometimes it's LN or LANE, and it's just easier to search the properties leaving that off when you do it. So we'll do 255 Main, and you'll see here that it brought up the parcel, and these little icons just show everything that's on it. There's 12 fees, 4 inspections, 34 certificates, 7 complaints. That's just a brief overview. If you needed to see if there was a complaint on the parcel, it'll show you. You still open up the parcel to get to them. To do that, you double click.
Question, will all the parcels be on there, or just the ones that have something going on?
All the parcels that are in your assessment would be in there.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you know.
they don't have to have items on.
Right, okay. So you'll import all those kind of.
Yes, yeah. So the main screen for a parcel looks like this. You always know where you're on the program by kind of looking at the top orange bar. So it says you're on this section, block and lot parcel. And then we use these things called breadcrumbs. The rightmost breadcrumb is where you are. So right now we only have a parcel open, and that's the item that we're on. We have some overview information here, which would be the owner and mailing address of the parcel, which could be different than the legal address of the property. Property class, zone, these are all things that we would bring in from your assessment system if it was available to be brought in. And then we use these groups along the bottom to display some of this information that if you needed to update it, you could update it here. Or just to have additional information if assessment doesn't have the frontage, but you want to start putting in the frontage on these parcels as you go along, you have the ability to add that information here if you'd like to. The poultry is just more of a fun test, just saying that you can create custom groups and custom fields. So if there's something that you didn't need to keep track of now, but you do a year down the road, you have the ability to make that custom field. A big one was like a historical property or something like that. If you never kept track of historical properties, you actually can create a custom field, and you have the ability to make a text field, a drop down, a date, or a checkbox. So I think that was the idea behind keeping track of the poultry for like chicken permits, because there's a few places. So you can make these fields, how many chickens, turkeys, and you can make a drop down with them. So it was just kind of for fun to show you, but pretty much if there's anything you need to keep track of, you can make a field for it, and then we can report on that field for it. So that's what all of these are. Here's an example of a checkbox. So there's a checkbox for you. You would do that, hit save changes, and now we can report on any parcels that box is checked off for you. Environmental is another one that you can do. How our system works is everything is geared off of this left-hand side. You'll see it pretty much stays the same no matter what you open up. So the contacts are the owner of the parcel, and if there's an additional owner. And then the items, these are all the items that you can put on a parcel. You have assets, applications. The biggest ones are applications, permits, and certificates, and of course, probably complaints as well. So we'll go through how you create that. One question that sometimes I usually ask is, do you keep track of the applications that come in for your building permits as separate from the ones you actually create as permits? So some places they wait until the permit's ready to be issued and all the fees are paid, they put it in the system as permit. Some other places they put them in as applications. They may have to do like a pre-site inspection on them, something that needs to be done before it becomes a permit, or they get denied. So with this, you can put them in as an application, and when you're ready to, you can approve them into a permit. So you can keep track of the applications that came in as opposed to the ones you actually approved, if you want to. And you don't have to. You can go write the permit if you want to. The media section is where all pictures and documents go. So you can upload Word files, PDFs, and pictures right from your computer, and also anything that you take out of the field on the tablet will sync back as well, which I'll show you that in just a minute. Notifications is going to be being removed, and it's going to be a communications tab, which is kind of going to give you like a listing of like different comments that you're doing. It's going to be like a drop-down piece that is being built, so I won't go over too much of that right now.
Question back on media, would the actual permit itself, could you PDF it into there? Or is that
It will
someplace
save it
else?
already as a Word file when you print it,
Okay.
and it'll keep a copy.
That's not located in media, or it is?
It will, okay.
So-
So what I'll do is I'll go through creating a permit so you can see how you would input one in to see like the speed of it, and then how we would print out a test one on there. So you'll see, I'll go back. In order to create the permit, you bring up the parcel you want to put the permit on, you would go to items, and then you would go to, let me try one as an application so you see how it would work. You go to applications, and then you do create application. We have this application wizard here. So you have all the types of applications you could use. Those are all customizable by you, and anybody that you want in the office can have access to make new ones. So actually, while you're doing one right here, if you see that you don't have an application type you need, you can hit the editors button, and it'll bring up the spot where you would add new permit types. You can go to permits and types, and here are all the permit types in that drop-down list. And you can just create a new one, close this, and that'll be in the drop-down menu for you. So it's very simple to make new ones if you need them.
That's great, I have to call IPS to go around.
I want you to call, and I do most of the support for this, so I want you to call me for a lot of things, but that's not one. I want you to be able to do.
That's great.
So we'll pick, let's see, maybe commercial. Okay. So I figured this would happen. So one of the things we can do is we can set up some templates for fees and inspections automatically come into the application as soon as you pick a particular type. You don't have to use these, but they're available if you want to help speed things up. It's more if you have permit types that always have like 12 inspections. You don't want to manually have to put 12 inspections in every time, so you can just bring 12 of them in all the time and assign them to the appropriate inspectors or yourself. So for here, we support calculated fees. So you would put in the cost of construction as maybe $2,000 and calculate. And what it did here is now you have your application type of commercial boiler. Here's your application date. The number, we support automatic numbering, so if you just leave that blank, it'll assign a number, whatever you like. A lot of people do like 2017-001. Applications state the status of pending. Put in your construction cost, the 2,000. Square footage if it's applicable, it's not required. You do have the ability to assign applications to people. It's not necessary, but sometimes it's used in larger places where there might be multiple inspectors that look at particular applications and have to review them. You can assign like electrical ones to an electrical or an engineer or something like that. He can do a review on it, but it's not necessary. The description would be what you would end up having on the permit. So it would be to install a new boiler in the basement. I'm good with my descriptions. It brings in by default the owner of the property, and then you can add additional tenants or additional applicants to it. If you wanted to add an additional contact, you would hit the Add Contact button, and we have one big contact database. So if you search for something like Smith, you're going to get a lot. And it's also pulling from not just the name, but the address on it as well, if you're very general in your search.
Yeah.
So if you needed to add like a contractor, we could do electric. And you'll see here you have Asheville Electric. You just double click on it and it adds the contractor. You just mark them as either contractor or electrician. We basically use those for our printouts, but you can mark them as electrician. And now you have the owner and the electrician on there. And then you just pick the one that's actually going to be the applicant, which maybe the electrician is the applicant in this case. Okay. You go down your wizard. It already added the boiler annual penalty fee. That was just part of the template that we did. It calculated it and it marked it as paid. You have the ability here to bring in the fee, and then if you didn't get the money for it, you just mark it as unpaid. If it is paid, then you can select the pay type of check and the check number 1234. Also added a couple of inspections that were necessary for this type. You can right from here, if you know when you're going to go out, you can schedule them. So you can pick the scheduled date of, I'll pick tomorrow, time, I'll just do all day, and I'm going to pick myself on the, as I can show you from the tablet. And if you brought in an extra inspection for this template and you didn't need it, you can exit out and then you set up on inspection. At any time, you can add inspections, add fees, remove them, and even after you create it, you can too. So you're not tied or locked out of anything.
Does it have a built-in calendar then?
It has a calendar, and it also, after I do this, I'll show you how the tablet works. And all the inspections you assign to yourself show up on the tablet, and then you can pass and fail them, put in results, and take pictures, and it all syncs back here.
But you can look up anything at
You
all.
can look up anything from the tablet. You can look up a parcel, see if they have a complaint on it, see if they have a permit for the deck that's being built while you're out there, and then if they don't, you can put a complaint on the parcel while you're out.
And then did you say there's a notification that if the permit was due to expire? Is there something that would tell you that?
There's not currently a notification, but we have automated reports that we can set up to run daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, and we have an expired permit report. So we can set that to run, and we can make it an Excel or a PDF, and you can just have that run anytime you want, emailed out to a number of people, and then manage them from there.
That might be helpful.
And you also can for our printouts, I'll show you their Word documents. So you can also create an expired permit letter that we just pull in the mailing address, the permit number, and do a bulk printing of all of them to help out. Tasks are anything that's not a fee or an inspection. So it may be a engineering review, it may be I have to send a homeowner a particular letter. They're not required to be used, they're just on here for the demo. If you don't want to use tasks, you just leave them blank. But they're there for anything that you need to complete on a permit before you issue a certificate, or an application for that. Once you're done filling out a bit of this information here, you hit create. And now it created an application, because that's what we did it as an application first. And we didn't have a number set, so it's just the 35th application's been created, so it assigned it a number. And I'm gonna drag this over. It keeps open the parcel, and I just wanna show you how it looks the same. So you always know where you are by looking at the rightmost breadcrumb. So you're on the application here, you're on the parcel there. It has all the same fields, except if you go to the items here, you see all these things you can create on a parcel. Whereas if you go to the items here, it breaks it down to only things you can put on a permit. So it's kind of a dynamic list on it. If you happen to close the parcel out and you're on the application and you're like, oh, I have to go back to the parcel, you don't have to go back to the search. You can just single click on the breadcrumb and it'll open that parcel back up. So it's very easy to jump back and forth to all the different places that you need. Here's your overview of the application. It's got the type, the number, the date, status of pending, and some other information we put in the wizard. Here are some custom fields that you can put in if you need to. Your contact, it brought in the owner, and then it brought in the electrician as the applicant, we call it agent. If you did need to add somebody else now, you would hit add contact. If the contact doesn't exist, you hit create contact. You fill out this information and create it, and now it's in that contact database for the next time you need it. So you just have to create it once.
So that's what I'm talking about with IPS. I would have to go to at least 10 screens at least. And each one, then move the mouse to where, you can type.
Yes.
And,
I've seen there's
That's
other
crazy.
programs that there were some different spots you have to go to each time.
so you can just start typing. and
Yeah,
typing.
this you can just start typing, yes, and then you create it. Once you create it, now it's in that contacts database. So the next application that they do. That's for it. The items, there was one inspection on it. There were 5 tasks, and there was a fee. You always have the ability to add new things after you created it. So you can create a new fee right here and just follow this wizard down. If the fee wasn't paid, you can right click and do a quick pay and pick your pay type check and update the fee, receipt number. I guess a good side to this, just, yes.
That tablet, does that have the ability to take a fee on site with a credit card? I don't like to do it in the restaurant.
Yeah, I think we can take, we don't have a lot of municipalities that take fees out in the field. I believe we can take the fee. You would have to probably get like one of those square
Right.
pieces, but I think we can capture that information in the field. I apologize, I'm not as up to date on the fee paying in the field, but I believe we can. I just have to double check.
I'm just thinking when he's on site, give me a credit card.
Yeah, I am pretty sure we do it in one municipality. I just don't think I've helped support them in a while, so I have to just ask the question to the programmer just to make sure. Kind of just to show you, instead of going all the way through, being we're on the inspection, kind of let me show you for time's sake too how the tablet works. So the tablet, I'm going to bring it up in 2 places so you can see it. It's another website, and it's actually one that you can do from your computer. So this is what you would see on the tablet. So you see the screen there, and if you look at the tablet, it's the same screen. So it's just a website that's we make a shortcut for it.
Now, the tablets, they have Wi-Fi.
You really want to get a tablet with cellular data, like your phone.
Okay.
Wi-Fi is not helpful, usually, unless you have great, strong Wi-Fi coverage all over the area, you're not going to have the benefit of it. So I would recommend getting one from Verizon, AT&T, whoever is your best service provider here. This is a website, so it supports any Android tablet, any Apple iPad. It supports the Windows Surface ones, but you have to be a little careful because those Surface ones are not true tablets. They're like laptop tablets, and the functions don't act the same when you click on them. So I would try it more on an iPad or a Galaxy tablet.
Okay. Are they GPS also so that if we're on that site with that iPad, would that show up on there as being on that site?
It will. When you put anything on the tablet, it puts it on that parcel
Okay.
in the system. And if you want to keep track of like assets, you could create an asset from where you're standing, and it locks in those GPS coordinates, and you can bring up the assets on the map back in the office as well.
That might be nice too.
So most of it I can demo from the laptop, but I want to show you how the pictures work and stuff like that. It's hard to do from the laptop. So if I go to the 5th, you'll see that there's the building final inspection that I assigned to myself right there. Okay. You click or tap on the tablet to open up the inspection, and it shows you that the inspection is on an application, which it is in the system, and it brings in all the information that I filled in on it. Items, if you want, you can put checklists on them. I can show you an example. White Plains uses like 79 checklists for the fire inspection, and you can just go through and, pass or fail the checklist items. And here's your media. So
That's great.
if I open up my inspection on the tablet and I go to media and I do add picture, you don't have the, it's right there, add picture. It's going to ask me to open up my camera. It's going to open up the camera. I won't get anybody, you take the picture, it asks you if you like it. I moved a little bit so it's a bit blurry. So let me just make sure that you at least see it clear. Okay. So I take the picture, I hit OK, and it says uploading file. As long as the Wi-Fi is fairly strong here, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So let me just let that upload for a second. Oh, okay, so then it says file successfully uploaded on the tablet. Now, if we go back, I'm just going to refresh my inspection because they're all open at the same time. I think it's... It'll come in. It's probably taking a second to sync back. So it gets saved up to a server and then it comes back down kind of on this. So while I'm waiting for it, because it will come back.
We have sections of town that do not have any cellular.
Yeah, I kind of thought so. When I was covering May.
In that case, we'll just like save it to the tablet and then.
Yeah, it doesn't cache the pictures, so what you have to do is exit out of the application and then just take them on your tablet. Then when you get back into a spot of coverage, open up the inspection and you can do add picture from gallery, and then you can upload the pictures that way. So you're
one at a time, or you can.
I think actually you can do multiples. Now you can do multiples and then upload them. Or if you get back to the office and you have strong coverage here, you can do it when you get back. The pictures are on your tablet, on your gallery, so it doesn't matter when you do that.
The information is all saved.
Yes. When you take a picture within the program, it does not save it to your tablet. Because a lot of these tablets, people buy ones that don't have that much storage on them, so you would fill it up very fast. It's only when you exit out of the program and do it in your gallery because you don't have service, it would save it on the tablet.
Now, would it tell you whether you got service or not when you're taking a picture?
I believe it will come up and give you a message that it can't connect. You'll also kind of know when you start to do it, because what happens is any inspection you added while you're at the office and you put the inspection on, if you launch the tablet when you had service, it'll put those inspections on there for you. But if you were out in the field and you said, does this person have a permit? And you went to do it, it wouldn't, because it doesn't know that and it can't make that connection.
So you want to, before you go out and load up all
You want to load up your inspections, at least so you have those on there.
And you can enter all that data and it'll stay there. When you get,
I think you can enter in maybe a status and possibly results may cache, and then when you get back in service, it would upload into it. But I'm gonna have to test that out again because the offline on it is not too strong for an offline mode. But as far as pictures, you can do that. You can get back in. You really want to have the service to make that connection. So we'll certainly can see where your dead spots are. The other thing that I want to do is show you that if you do have connection, you hit the status button, or actually let me put the results in. So you hit the results button, and you can, if you hit results here, you can either type them in, you can swipe it if you're used to doing Android swiping, or you can talk it into the tablet. And as long as it's not windy, it actually does a pretty good job of doing that. So if I close this out, my results, and I do this, I go inspection for commercial boiler passed. It did pass PAST, passed, okay, and I do okay. And then that's the wrong one, I apologize. I was on the first thing. Inspection for boiler passed. And I'm gonna change my status to passed, hit OK. So here's the 5th. There's the status that I changed it to passed. And there's the inspection for boiler passed, let me spell. And it's taking a little while for the media. However, it could be a couple different things that I didn't think about when I logged in. Sometimes the Wi-Fi in the areas are restrictive of certain things that it allows to connect to. The GIS may be a problem, so I may have to connect using my tablet and to see if that works. Let me see if it came back to the, so right here you see this is open and there's no results. If I refresh it, it switched to passed and those are the results. So everything synced back that I did, and let me open it up and see if the picture got there. And it didn't. I'd like you to see that because it does work very well, but I think it's because I connected to the Wi-Fi. So I can connect to the tablet and try it again. But you'll see that the status and the results for it did sync back, but I'm having a little bit of trouble with the actual media file. And also the files that you upload in your office, you have access to out in the field. So if you have site plans or something, you can upload that plan and then you can access it and open it up as a PDF when you're out there. I'll check back in on this just to see if it did come.
Who's the nearest community near us that is using this application?
What was it?
Who near us is using this application?
Oh, Malaysia, I think Kinderhook, remember it was Vince Cochran told us about this.
Kinderhook isn't using it yet. They're using one of our other products.
Okay.
But they will probably be switching over to this. I actually have to talk with Wayne. Wayne Voss is the inspector in Kinderhook. Don retired. He was the state inspector. I've met them before. They use an older municipal program of us that's not web-based. It's a client-server one. Probably a lot more like IPS is. I could get a list of customers for you and send it out that way. We have a lot of Dutchess County customers, but we're in, what are we in here? Is it Columbia? So I don't have an accurate list of the customers here, but I can ask Will to look up what that would be. So when you're ready for the application, you paid your fees, you passed your inspections, you're ready. You change the status of the application. status of the application to issued. You hit save changes, and it says, would you like to create a permit? So that's where you create the permit from the application, otherwise you could deny that application, so you can keep track of which ones you deny. You hit yes. There's some calculated fees that are on the permit as well.
We get dropped very often
Do you?
from Fairpoint, which is the DSL provider. So that's why.
Let me, bear with me, just, I didn't realize it, I should have did it before. Let me turn on my hotspot here so I can connect to it, and may find it's a little easier.
Dan seemed to like it. Dan seemed like he liked it.
Yeah, we had talked about it last year.
Yeah.
Where's he from?
He's our
He's the
assessor.
Oh, the assessor.
So he's, yeah.
You could have access to it too.
Yeah, so all this information can be transmitted to him.
We would have a program called the parcel updater. So it takes the assessment data and syncs it to here for new ownership changes. And then you could create a read-only role for him if he needed to go in to do some work or check on parcels and permits. If he needed to do a little bit more, you can break down by like applications, permit certificates, if they have rights to delete things, or if it's read-only. So I can show you a little bit of that too. But so we could probably create a role that allows him to do certain things.
Now, can this data also be transmitted to the highway superintendent?
If they're
Like when Jim issues a permit for a house, so we've got a lot of dirt roads. Highway superintendent would like to know that, because if it's going to be an extensive project that's going to obliterate the road, he can set a bond.
sure.
If they have to pay a bond. So that's the information, that chain of information that needs to go to him too, instead of picking up the phone or sending him an email.
You could, we have a notification system where when you complete a permit, like a change of status, it would notify a particular person who subscribed to that permit, and it would send them a notification telling them a bit of information about that item, like the permit, the type, the status of it, and that could be something that could trigger him to take action on it. Or though it's still a little bit on the manual side of emailing or so, he could have access to the program if he needed to either we could run reports and send a report out to him so he could just check everything of all the different permit types that closed, and we can cater the report to have certain information to it. Or if you don't use a notification, you could still tell him about it in some form of communication and then have him be able to log in and take some sort of action on it. So there's a couple different things that we could work on how to do that. Let me log back into my demo. That's connected. I want to try just because I never. Yeah, I don't think it ever saved that file. When I did it, it's not there anymore. So let me just try it again so we can at least do a good test result. there's the picture that I took with the tablet of the screen synced back. That's the way it should have worked. I think it was the Wi-Fi that blocked it. So as you take those pictures, it'll sync back automatically.
See, the first, when did we get Windows 10? I had like 8-9 months of pictures to put in because I basically just couldn't get them into the computer.
Most people
Just
like
getting those things
this.
caught.
This has usually been very helpful. Because you can do those results, you can do the pass or fail, and the pictures. It just saves you a lot of extra work back at the office.
Yeah.
Right? We can take it a step further, and you can see the checklist items or the complaints. That's why the demo sometimes takes a while because I gotta go off on all these different things. But let me just show you a little bit more
How much
here.
iCloud space is provided for this, for us? Is it unlimited?
It's not unlimited, but it's pretty large for pictures. We support so many gigs of pictures on our Amazon servers, and then after that amount, there would be an extra charge to the municipality to expand that out if you were to exceed those limits. I don't think they're in the contract here, but I can follow up with Will on what he does. I know it's a fairly large amount for pictures, but you do have an option to increase it. I think it's basically just an increased cost for us to increase the hard drive space on the Amazon servers to do that.
How long do we keep our records in the building department?
Forever.
It is a forever deal.
And the presence of Chatham would be integrated with this quite easily?
Yes, we worked with IPS before, so we would use the assessment system to build the parcels, and then we would link the permits and inspections and things like that, items. We like to link by section, block, and lot. That's the best way to link it. Sometimes some of the other programs allowed you to create false parcels that didn't exist, or put like -1s and it's not an actual parcel. We normally have some sort of exclusion list afterwards of things we couldn't match up by section, block, and lot or legal address. And then the permits will be in the system and you can move the permit to the parcel. To where it's at. Let me show you. Let me change this back to pending.
So pretty much all the parcels will be in there when we get it.
Yes.
So often we have to create our own parcels in IPS. I mean, there's a whole lot of parcels that are not in there, and some guy comes in with a permit, and then you have to create the parcel. And that can hold you up an extra 10-15 minutes.
Sure. We would take all the parcels that are in your assessment system now and build that. And then we use the parcel updater to keep it updated. If there was an issue with a parcel, you do have the ability to create them. You do have the ability to create a parcel with like a fake number, that I would call it. It's not a real parcel, but I often try to get people to use what we call like occupants. So you could have a main parcel, but you may have like a Subway and a Verizon and things like that on that parcel. They all refer back to the parcel ID, the same one, but you need to issue permits or things separately for them. So on this parcel, you can create occupants, and you can make a Verizon, and you can pick the type of store that it is. That's not ready yet, but I'll do that. You can put in your own address for the Verizon store. And now you have a Verizon on that parcel. And now when you open up the Verizon, you can do all of the same things you can do on a parcel. So you can separate your permits right to just that store instead of on the main occupant.
Now, would you work with our inspector to take our open applications and our permits and load them into this system?
Yes, we have people back in the office that do the data convert. So they would get data from the assessor, and then they would get the data from IPS.
Okay.
And then those would be converted in and then we would review the data to see how it looks. And then that data would stay there, and then when we go live, more than likely myself would be here in the morning and stay for the day, and we would go over, make sure the printouts work, and we'd do that beforehand too. Go over questions, do training, and then just troubleshoot everything that happens on, day 1, day 2. There's always a few.
How long is the process from the time that town makes the decision, if they do sign the contract, what's the time frame? 6 weeks, 8 weeks?
I'm sure it's probably every bit of the 8 weeks, but I would refer that to Will as a question for it, because he knows of all of our pending customers right now. So I don't want to say a time frame and then have him say, well, it's going to be a couple weeks more because of someone else we're going live with at the time. So it shouldn't be a lengthy process. The biggest things are getting the assessment. Usually the assessment is not a big deal. Sometimes it's getting the stuff on IPS or something like that. Sometimes you have to ask them for the data. And then you get the data over to us, and then we make sure the data gets in, and then we want to review the data and make sure it looks good. So those are the biggest things. Getting copies of the printouts that you like to use. If you're not tied to the way your permit looks, then we can show you some examples. Otherwise, you give us the permits. If you have them in Word, that would be great, because something I didn't show you, let me show you here. Let me just open up any permit.
And you were going to talk about the online permit submission. Is that an additional feature?
It's an additional feature and an additional cost, but I can give you an example of what it looks like.
Okay.
This you get all with the main purchase of the program, Municity 5. You get apps, permits, the GIS, the reporting. You also get the tablet, as well as the app for the tablet, and then there's some training on both of them. So all that's in one big package. And then the Connect would be a separate piece to it.
How far back would you go? I mean, we've got a lot of records, we've got a lot of histories of the town. I'm sure we can't put everything on it. But what would be the recommended time frame to go back to put applications in this system?
Do you mean ones that are not currently digital? You mean paper ones?
Yeah, because I don't know how much digital we have. Do you, Jim?
We're getting there. It's
How